10 gets a running start. Butler saved the day! Butler with a block! Now they got a foul.
Jimmy Butler is doing it once again. We've seen him jump ship from team to team, Chicago, Minnesota, Philadelphia, Miami, and in literally every stop he's dragged that franchise to a deeper playoff run than they had in years. Now he's in Golden State, a trade many people, including myself, doubted could work, but again Butler has completely turned their season around. Let's unpack how his relentless energy, gritty defense, and late game heroics revitalize every team he's on. Looking back at the first part of the season, the Golden State Warriors were making headlines for all the wrong reasons. A team that dominated the second half of the 2010s was now being criticized for wasting Steph Curry's prime. It also seemed like the front office was reluctant to make any big moves. The three main faces of the team, Steph, Draymond, and Steve Kerr, were defending their management's approach and talking about not mortgaging the future. But that only added fuel to the debate, as many thought, what future? The present was looking bleak and Golden State was on track to miss the playoffs for a second straight year. That wasn't just bad for the Warriors fans, it was bad for the NBA. A postseason without Steph Curry? Again? That was something the league just couldn't afford. But then, in what seemed as a bit of a desperate move, Jimmy Butler finally got out of heat and arrived in the Bay Area at the February deadline. The result? A red-hot 16-4 record since he got into the Warriors uniform. In a bit over a month, they catapulted from a mid-lottery hopeful to a top 6 Western Conference contender. Statistically, the shift is glaring. Before the trade, the Warriors were averaging a minus 0.4 point differential, good for 15th in the league. Post-trade, they are at plus 9.6, which ranks amongst the NBA's top 5. Their offense has shot up to nearly 120 points per 100 possessions, 7th best in the league. A significant part of that was fueled by Butler's physicality and ability to draw free throws. Butler plays through contact a lot, which has given Golden State a much-needed boost at the line. From 27th in free throws attempted before Jimmy's arrival to 4th after. Defensively, they've gone from solid to elite, jumping from 9th to 2nd in points allowed per 100 possessions. But it's not just the numbers. Butler's style syncs perfectly with Draymond Green and Stephen Curry. He's comfortable in a motion-heavy pass-and-cut offense, perhaps a nod to the triangle sets he ran in Chicago. Also, they finally have someone who can operate under the basket, punishing defenses both in low post and high post situations. This is a crucial addition to Steve Kerr's system, as it gives the Warriors a new offensive dimension. They've long lacked a center who could contribute efficiently on offense, so having a wing like Butler who thrives in the paint and plays with physicality is a game changer. On defense, he can take on the toughest wing assignment while Green roams around. The Warriors can finally survive stretches without Curry by leaning on defense first lineups. A unit featuring Gary Payton II, Moses Moody, Butler, Green, and Quentin Post gives them excellent rim protection, mobility, and defensive intensity. I mean, it's obvious, Golden State lacks offensive firepower when Curry is off the floor, but they can absolutely lock in defensively now and make life difficult for opposing teams. With Butler in the mix, the Warriors have more balance, more toughness, and a higher ceiling on both ends of the floor. Okay, now let's rewind it a bit and see how Jimmy has done it with all these other franchises he's been a part of in his NBA career so far. His ability to raise a team ceiling first became evident in Chicago. Drafted 30th overall in 2011, he was initially just a defensive specialist backing up Luol Deng. Within 2 seasons though, he had carved out a significant role, and by his 4th year he had blossomed into an all-star. At first, Butler was definitely overshadowed by Chicago's star point guard, but once Rose's health got in the way, it was Butler who stepped up. He consistently locked down opposing wings, led the team in scoring, and embodied the gritty, hard-nosed identity that Tom Thibodeau instilled. The Bulls made the playoffs in every single one of his first 5 seasons, and that was despite injuries to Derrick Rose and a constantly changing supporting cast. Then, after he left, the Bulls missed the playoffs for 4 consecutive years, from 2018 to 2021. I mean, it's hard not to connect the dots. With Butler, Chicago was a perennial postseason threat. Without him, they fell off a cliff and have been struggling to contend ever since. One of the most striking examples of Butler's impact came in Minnesota, a franchise that hadn't sniffed the postseason since 2004. After the Bulls traded him there where in 2017 the Wolves jumped from 31 wins to 47, an eye-popping 16 victory improvement. Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins had loads of talent but lacked that leadership and fight instinct to consistently close out games. Butler filled that void immediately, injecting a competitive edge that the Wolves desperately needed. Under his watch, Minnesota made the playoffs for the first time in 14 years. They ultimately lost in the first round, but the achievement itself felt monumental. Yet it wasn't all smooth sailing. Butler's well-known intensity clashed with Towns and Wiggins, culminating in a now infamous practice where Butler reportedly dominated the starters with a third five of the rotation, all while trash-talking the front office.
Was it the right way to do it? No. But I can't control that when I'm out there competing. Like, that's my love of the game. That's raw me. Me at my finest, me at my purest. That's what you're gonna get.
That drama overshadowed the on-court success and also led to his trade request. The following season, post-Butler, the Wolves slid to 36 wins, missing the playoffs again. For all the controversy around his abrasive style, the bottom line remained. As soon as Jimmy Buckets left, the team crumbled. And as usual, he exited with a bunch of controversy that masked just how much he had elevated the team in one single year. Jimmy Butler's next stop, Philadelphia, offered a glimpse of just how close he could take a team to the title. The Sixers were already on the rise with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, but they needed a proven closer for high-pressure moments. Enter Butler, who arrived in the middle of the 2018-19 season. They finished with 51 wins, down a bit from their 52 the previous year, but the difference lay in how they fared in the playoffs. While the Sixers had made the Eastern Conference semifinals before, they were handily dismissed by Boston in 5 games the previous year. Butler brought a new level of toughness, leadership, and clutch performances. Suddenly, Philadelphia battled the eventual champion Toronto Raptors to a legendary 7-game series, ending on that Kawhi Leonard's heart-stopping buzzer beater in Game 7.
It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
Despite the heartbreak, it was clear that Butler had elevated the Sixers closer to contention than they had been since the Allen Iverson era. But as soon as he left that summer, Philadelphia slid backwards. Their win total dipped to 43 and they suffered a first-round sweep at the hands of the Celtics. Once again, Butler's departure revealed how critical he was to that team's playoff edge. Then came the tenure at the Miami Heat, probably the clearest testament to Butler's ability to lead. Before his arrival in 2019, the Heat had gone 39-43 and missed the playoffs. The very next season, they won 44 games, finished as the 5th seed, and charged all the way to the NBA Finals. Butler was averaging 22.2 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 6 assists in those playoffs, carrying a young core featuring Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and Duncan Robinson further than anyone anticipated. In the finals against the Lakers, Butler posted one of the most memorable individual performances in recent NBA memory. Dropping a 40-point triple-double in Game 3, he pushed the Heat to a surprising win despite injuries taking out most of his supporting cast. Though Miami lost the series in 6, playoff Jimmy became a phenomenon. And it didn't stop there either. In 2022, the Heat reached the Eastern Conference Finals again, this time falling to Boston in a dramatic 7-game series. Then the next year, in 2023, they stunned the top-seeded Milwaukee Bucks in the first round as the 8th seed. And then they were en route to another finals appearance where they ultimately fell to Denver. But honestly, that first round series against Milwaukee humiliated the Bucks so bad that they traded Drew Holiday afterwards. Anyways, in 4 seasons with the Heat from 2019 to 2023, Butler led them to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 times, tying the Boston Celtics for the most Eastern Conference appearances in that span. If you were still wondering whether his presence translates to winning, this is Exhibit A. He took a mid-tier roster twice to a championship round, proving that when it matters the most, Jimmy's your guy. Jimmy Butler has made the playoffs in 11 out of his 14 NBA seasons. Truly a staggering stat that underscores his role as a proven winner. Wherever he goes, a team lacking postseason credibility suddenly finds itself in the thick of contention. From the Bulls to the Wolves to the Sixers to the Heat and now the Warriors. Butler has dragged franchises out of mediocrity, creating improbable playoff runs. Yet he also seems to depart start every stop with some cloud of controversy, clashing with teammates, calling out front offices, or even taking third stringers to humiliate starters in practice. That might be the paradox of Jimmy Butler. He's both the competitor teams need and the unfiltered personality that can rattle people along the way. Whether Golden State's Curry, Draymond culture can harness that intensity without imploding is anyone's guess. But I guess that's what we can discuss in the comments below. Do you believe the Warriors will be yet another franchise that Jimmy Butler elevates? Perhaps even to an unexpected finals appearance? Let me know your thoughts, like this video, and subscribe for more NBA takes through an overseas lens.